Leela Chess Official, Leela Chess Zero versus Grandmaster Andrew Tang. And just as I said that, here we go. This is fun, man. All right. Put in your predictions. E4 by Leela. Best by test. So this is a 15-2 rated game. Rapid time controls. 2 games at 15 plus 2. 4 games at 15, or excuse me, 4 games at 5 plus 2. And then 8 games at bullet time controls, 1 plus 0. Yeah, just 1-0. So we have a Scotch opening. So cool. Very interesting to see the different, well, just the early decisions, the opening decisions, not a Roy Lopez. So what variation of the Scotch will we have here? This is great. So this is going to be some heavy theory. E5 on the way. Oh boy, this is going to be really sharp, I imagine. E5 it is. I know from the AlphaZero games, AlphaZero is a fan of space. Saw it in AlphaZero playing white against the French defense. Loves having a pawn on E5. Much different opening here. Scotch. How is white going to handle this? How is Andrew going to handle this? Knight to D2. I don't know. I'm not filled in with the theory on this one, so what's the scoop with knight to D2? He's ready to put it on F3. That was another thing I noted in the French games that AlphaZero played. It had a pawn on E5, and it had the king knight rest on the F3 square for what seemed like forever. It is a wonderful piece right into the endgame on F3. So what will we have here? Queen to E4, making some space for the bishop. Also, the queen is supported, so challenging the E5 pawn. White does have the option to capture, and queen's defended. This pawn needs to be challenged. So how is the penguin going to do this? How is Andrew going to do this? D6, F6. F6 I'm not so sure about. F6, there's always a capture, and that kind of wrecks the kingside structure. I don't think that this is a good variation, a good opening to go into. Maybe he was thinking that Roy Lopez would come on board. But with the Scotch opening here, I think this could end fast. This is a sharp position. Thank you for subscribing, Jeffrey. G6. Okay. Clearly preparing a fianchetto. So development with the bishop somewhere. D3 it is. I think is this already just new territory? Has this position been seen before? Anybody in the chat? Fill me in. Okay, and if I had to guess, it'd be this. Okay, so yeah, this is starting to make some sense. Bishop d3 keeps the queen defended, so now the knight could move. But who needs to do that? Let's get on with castles. Apparently this guy is poison. Wow. Yeah, I think with this pawn on e5, this is something that needs to be challenged soon. And the longer this pawn sticks around, I think black is going to experience a bit more some difficulty. Just getting on with castles. So now knight f3, rook e1. Both of these come to mind. I'm leaning more towards knight f3. I don't see how to improve the queen or the bishop, so this is very sensible. Nice square, the bishop's ready to fly out. Meanwhile, what's the future for the queen bishop? I don't know. What should this guy do? If you do piece by piece comparison, the knights tips in white's favor. Structurally, white is looking pretty good. And now bishop a6. Okay, so if you try something like this, there may be a way to take advantage of the rook. b3, and the rook is a bit vulnerable, but b3 it is. So now, after a move like d6, you can't capture. But on d6, this is a problem. Right now, this structure, if it can be maintained, both minors suffer. So in a way, we have two pawns restricting 6 points. This also opens up a bishop a3 move. White is just one move out from connecting rooks. Black already has the rooks connected, but the focus is here on e5. How will black challenge it? I don't know. How's Andrew gonna pull this one out? f6 or d6? Or d5? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see just this development to a3. Put the rooks on the center files. Yeah, I imagine Andrew's having some difficulty here. Coming up with a move. Normally, as soon as your opponent has a pawn in your house, if you could challenge it, you'd like to do that right away. But we have yet to see how this pawn will be challenged. h4. Ooh. Really? What's h4 about? He's preparing a queen exchange. This is the one square that sticks out to me, g5. Yeah, just some quick development with a punch. Rook e8. And rook here. And I don't know, this captures my attention. Bishop and knight. And now this d6 move. Ooh, I don't know, like rook e8, rook e1, and then d6 you could take. Exchange queens, and then you'd end up winning on d6. Maybe exchange queens and the rooks. And then win on d6, and in the end, there's still these two guys. Well, I was going to say these queenside pieces, but this is the kingside knight, right? How did we get there? Yeah, that's the kingside knight. Boom, boom, boom. Anyhow, they're both stuck. 16 moves in, and it feels really good for white. A lot of weaknesses on the king side. F6, H6, G5. G5 isn't a hole, but in a way it is. You don't ever really want to do this. Notice the king shelters. With still so much material on the board, this isn't going to end well for black, is my guess. What's the move? I mean, this is already an indication that black is not comfortable with the position, seeing h5. All right, there we go. Isn't this the win of a pawn? Chop. Chop. Queens get exchanged. Maybe the rooks. And then in the end, this pawn is picked off. Oh, he's doing something fancy, but I don't know if this is going to really work out. Queen f4, and this pawn is defended. Queen's out of the line of fire. Yeah, this is the win of a pawn, but so much more. Structure kills these two. Black knows it. Well, it didn't take too long. Move 18. Call it move 19, and white is now up a pawn and I believe completely winning. Is there some trick? Okay, what's white's reply if this bishop comes under fire? Because if you support it, this bishop falls. There's an unprotected bishop on d3. So Leela must have something in reply to a rook move here, or maybe this rook to d8. Oh, if rook here, there's rook here, hitting the queen and threatening mate in 2. And if rook here, white could exchange rooks and distract the major pieces from the d file. I believe I have that right. Rook d8, there's rook here. Making use of this one intersection square. Saying, you take my bishop, and I'm going to give a mate in 2. Big trouble. We're going to have a resign? Is it too early to resign? No. I think he's going to play some more. It may go straight to mate. I don't know what his train of thought is with this kind of a match against an engine. It might be instructive just to see how the game goes right down to checkmate and the decisions. So I'm expecting a rook swap. No. Oh, this is brutal, man. Talk about some direct play. So what's the trick here? Queen takes bishop, and then there's a check, and then look at all the pieces that are striking at g6. White is up a pawn, giving up a bishop in order to just smash open the king position. Really taking advantage of the weaknesses on the king side now with 3 pieces. And you could afford to do that too, because these two are basically out of the ballgame. Wow. White is basically attacking with these pieces, and everything except the rook on f1 is in the ball game for white. Probably just have to go for this, yeah? Or okay, he's going for rook takes knight. What does Leela have here? Well, he's going to get this bishop in the end, but everything is pointing to these 2 pieces still. That is not changed. So the king isn't going to get crushed right away, but this rook is going to become an animal soon, yeah? Queen takes bishop, bishop takes bishop, rook e7. Yikes. This is one of those positions where the rook and the pawn are better than the two minor pieces. And that's the imbalance we have right now. Notice the time situation as well. A wild pig on the scene. Gotta defend this point. Crawl up into a ball. Oh, there is rook to d7, yeah? Rook d7, probably queen here and then getting into the back rank. That's not going to work out well. 23 moves in, folks. Queen f7, compromising the structure just to defend. White will be picking up another pawn. Keep the queens on? No, you just damage the structure and go for a pawn. And it hits with the punch. Bishop will have to underdevelop. Yeah, this isn't just any pawn, though. That's the other thing. This A pawn is going to get rolling and roll fast, I imagine. No, a little bit of patience. H3, that's a bit surprising. Just want a flight square at this stage. Why not pick up the A7 pawn? This is surprising. It doesn't seem like anything is wrong with taking on A7. And there wasn't a back rank issue at the moment. H3. Huh. Wow. Surprised. I am very surprised at that move. Doesn't black have an opportunity to now hang on to the A pawn? Rook d7? Under 5 minutes for the Penguin. Grandmaster Andrew Tang. Some other candidate move besides rook to d7. You don't want to do something like that. This rook would stay active. This seems like the human reply. Don't give up the a-pawn. Rook d7. So what would white's reply be if rook d7... I guess you could exchange and then get really active with the rook. As white already figured out that one of these pawns will be dropping anyhow, you could afford this flight square move. Under 4 minutes now for Penguin. This is only a 2-second increment. Still a lot in the tank for Leela. 10 minutes plus. Yeah, I mean, if you couldn't already tell, that this is the most surprising moment of the game for me, seeing h3. Although, I think I was pretty surprised with the knight to e5 move. So direct. But this follow-up of h3 has me a bit baffled. 3 minutes now. Yeah, we have a case of all isolated pawns here. Superior structure for white. By far. Rook d7 it is. So what's the plan, Leela? Avoid the rook exchange go here. Start targeting some pawns, maybe sneak over like this. You keep one rook on, or two. What would you do? What would I do here? I feel like black has chances to hold this as a draw. h3, I don't get h3. Could do this. There is king f6. Swing over here. The bishop could move, though. the rook is defending. The rook is doing a very good job, and I think black will have some time to regroup these two misplaced pieces. Rook takes rook, knight takes, and then you get active. Okay, going with this. Something much more direct. So it's a rook and pawn versus two minors. All weak pawns for black. Here we go. Rook d1 it is. Eyeing up the knight, eyeing up d6. What would be a good... the king wants to be like right here, right now. Under 3 minutes for the penguin. Stable square for the knight, where is it? This bishop is so clumsy. Look at this light square. AlphaZero did this to Stockfish. Just time and time again, it seemed like AlphaZero somehow managed to embarrass the light square bishop. And right now it's embarrassed, staring at a pawn. How does it get active? It may never get active. It may never get active. Rook to d8, rook d8 on board. What is this bishop doing? Like rook here, for example. Like rook here right now. Coupled with b5, and this bishop is... Ooh. It's not going to turn out well for the bishop. Maybe you kick the knight first, then go here, and then b5 and the bishop's dead. Uh-oh. I think this is what we might be having. The knight's going to run away. Rook b8, bishop a6, b5, and that is one cooked bishop. Oh, man. 2 minutes, by the way. What could this knight do to challenge this idea? Rook b8, bishop only has one safe square, b5, chop, chop, and we'll have resignation. That's a crystal clear exchange up for white. What am I missing? I don't believe I'm missing anything. b5, and maybe he just throws in the towel right here. He does. Game 1, Leela Chess official wins. That was, I don't know, man. AlphaZero embarrasses the light square bishops, and now we have Leela embarrassing the light square bishop. So game 2, this is the second 15+2 game, the final 15+2 game, and then after this it's 4 games of 5 minutes 2 second increment. Okay, knight f6. This is fun. Bishop f4, going with something quiet. This is Andrew's best chance for a draw. No draw here, and he might get blanked. Okay, this is not surprising. This beginning, see the top engines play this quite a bit. Knight f6 and e6, keeping some flexibility with the d-pawn. Possibilities to go into Nimzo Indian. Something sharp. c5. Yeah, don't be surprised if we see d5 and maybe even a c4 grabbing some space. So it's 1-0. h3. I'm still baffled by h3. Okay, so what kind of setup is black going to go for here? A quick queen to b6. Trying to induce some weakness in b6 or b3. Queen b6 it is. How to deal with the threat on b2. Queen c1. This is something you want to stay away from. The dark square weaknesses, the bishop is not around to help secure these dark squares. Bishop b4 check, and I mean, is this the plan? You have to really calculate this fast, or calculate this well, to go in for these sharp lines. Knight c3, queen takes b2, knight b5, focusing on this square. There is knight to a6 defending. So white wanted a calm game with bishop f4, move 2, but queen b6 is making it sharp and fast. What to do about b2? Queen c1 it is. The b pawn is not budging. So most likely knight c6, and then a c3. And what's going to happen with the d pawn? I guess this is maybe a move at some point. No. d6. Okay. So d6 looks a bit more conservative than, let's say, d5. But what does d6 do? This is what sticks out to me. Controls e5. Takes away 2 possible jumping points by the white pieces. Also, is there a reason to maybe not go with knight to c6? I mean, is an idea to play knight to a6, keep this line open so that rook c8, the rook is seeing the queen a bit more directly? This also maintains this possibility. With enough support, maybe the position gets cracked open with e5. Black does have a central majority, working with a small pawn center. And what kind of approach does white take here? Work within a cozy structure, c3, d4, and make all these natural moves. Rook on the e file, connect the knights, bishop on d3. That's what white's approach is here. So the knight's going to be here, the bishop's going to be there, castles, rook e1. But this type of break is, I believe, going to be prepped. How will black go about this? Has the queen done its job? Oh, interesting. Bishop d3. So this is a possibility now. Oh, I'm reminded of the French defense. I don't know why, just second game now, I'm somehow reminded of the French defense. But this is a maneuver you would see in the French defense. Trying to exchange, I don't know if you could really call the bishop bad at this stage. But I mean, the structure can be defined quickly with d5, and you would have a bad bishop. You'd start to identify good and bad bishops. So this is the idea, I believe. Exchange light square bishops. And we're seeing a reason to not play that knight c6 move, that very natural move. Because black's idea is possibly to go in for the light square bishop exchange. And then plant a pawn on the light squares and say, I'm a tiny bit better because I have a better minor piece in the end. Dark square bishop. Good versus bad bishop. So is this the plan? Bishop b5 right now? No, not right now, but still keeps this option open. So what would be a reason for this delay? You would like to have the bishop maybe move first, so that after this advance, then the bishop has to take a second move for a capture. So this is much more natural. I mean, what else was the bishop going to do? What else is the king going to do? You could see this move next. So right now, we may see either castles or bishop here. There may still be no rush with bishop to b6. This idea seems like it's still possible. Maybe even castles and then rook here. Bringing the king rook to the c-file. Delaying the queen knight development. So these are the two that I'm thinking about. No. Bishop c6. Oh, a mouse slip. Can that be taken back? That's obviously a mouse slip. Oh, no. Is it possible to do a take back? This would be... Oh, no, Andrew mouse slip. Oh, no, Leela doesn't give take backs. Oh, man. King F1, exclam. Oh, this isn't going to go well. Oh. Oh, that's really too bad. That's really too bad. This is... Oh, they are able to take it back. We do have a take back. One more take back. Do it. They took back the castles. I guess they're just figuring out how they could do another take back. They're working out. They're not going to let this game go where there's a mouse slip involved. There we go. All right. There you go. Castles it is. Okay. Yeah, that wouldn't have been cool. So we still have a game here. Okay. Yeah, this is already very instructive for me. See this organization of the black pieces? You know, when the queen is on b6, you kind of give up on any idea. Just as I say that, queen d8. Okay. I was going to say you give up on this idea to fianchetto the bishop, a6, b5. But I'm having to rethink that thought immediately with black's last move, queen d8. The b pawn is now free. And is the idea to now maybe expand with b5 and a5? What is this? A minority attack? But should this move come first? Or does b5 get played right now? None of the above. No castles. No b5. I was going to say maybe b5 to combat an a4 move. Get this in before this common expansion on the queen side. No. h6. Another surprise move, just like h3 was surprising to me the last game. b5 right now. Okay. b5 on board. No castles. Oh, this is interesting. Is black maybe having thoughts of keeping the king in the center? Like, is this a possibility at some stage? Breaking at the white king position? Because these pawns are pretty strong. Black at least keeps this option open to be aggressive. I would think that there's a bit more building up that needs to happen. Some more pieces need to get involved. Knight b to d7. Queen to c7. a5, b4. What's the king going to do? Okay, the queen is regrouping, so maybe queen to b3. I mean, the queen only went there to defend that earlier threat against b2, so small reposition for the penguin. Now a6. Just a little tidying up move. Control b5. Secure b5. What's with this delay of the knight? Queen knight. And the delay of castles. Oh, is the plan maybe to back the bishop up? And be a bit in like a roundabout fianchetto. Bishop d7, c6, and then here. Back up with this. I don't know. It feels like the knight would do pretty well on d7. If the knight ends up on b6, it's coordinated very well with the pawn on b5. c4, knight a4. The knight, a knight on b5 would be one of the best pieces for black. Even though it's not in the key 16 squares in the board, has some really nice jumping points. This is not a case of a knight on the rim is grim or dim. A knight on a4 really puts a lot of pressure, would put a lot of pressure on the white queen side. 8-minute mark for Penguin. Grandmaster Andrew Tang versus AI Leela Chess Zero. Okay. What to do, White? Haven't suggested anything here. Queen here. How does the structure change for White? This is the only pawn move I could maybe see being played, though at the moment Black could probably just take it. So I think White has to play within the structure. Possibly a regrouping with a knight, or maybe even seeking some trades with knight to e4. So this is a piece you can improve. The queen is another piece you could improve. Queen to e2 it is. So this is a big jumping point on the e4 square. Now, is this knight going to finally commit? Is the king going to commit? The knight finally jumps in. He's involved. This wouldn't be an idea. This may be an idea if the pawn was still on h7. But now, something like this, you would see a bishop for knight exchange. Black would have to take away from the center, and then this would be a big problem. So this type of maneuver is not going to happen. Okay, now we do have castles. Black already has a flight square, both sides with the flight square. But what's the plan here for White? Knight e4, a couple minors are exchanged. I think in the end, this knight, looking at these squares, it's tough. I think we're soon going to see a position where it's difficult for White to make progress. All right, so no knight e4. So knight b6, queen c7, rook to b8, queen to b6. None of the above. This is the second time the queen is visiting b6. The first time it was obstructing the b pawn, not now. So maybe patrolling the main diagonal is the idea. Yeah, queen here would be exerting some pressure and asking the knight on f3 a question. Asking White, are you okay with a compromised kingside structure? Rook e8, opposite the queen, has this square open for a couple minors. Very flexible for Black. Very solid. No gaps, no holes to speak of in Black's camp. Just a nice centralizing move for White. I imagine an evaluation to be very close to equal here, as there's only been one exchange, by the way. E-pawn exchange for the C-pawn. Knight h5, going hunting. So what's the plan here? What's the follow-up move? How to connect on the f4 square? Is there a way to do this? Oh, what are we having, a repetition? Test it out, Andrew. Test it out. Go back. Where was the bishop f4? Go back to f4 and see if Leela repeats. In my one game against Leela that I put on YouTube, I did that. I wanted to see if it would go for a draw. It didn't go. It did not go for a draw. But it'll be an interesting test. Go back to f4 and see if Leela goes in for this. Or if Leela says, play ball, you're not getting away with a draw, human. Ah, the human says play ball. Okay, bishop b1. Clearing the way for the rook, some possibilities for maybe a battery one day. This knight is a rock, however, on f6. h7 could be defended in multiple ways. Black doesn't need to budge with any kingside pawns to defend against this battery. Piece play is the way. And now, yeah, take a picture of this here. This is a wonderful piece configuration for black. Small pawn center, knights connected. Everything defended. Bishop was undefended at one point. So, I think we're now close to seeing finally some structural change with a5 and b4. Notice also, double the time for Leela. Blitz games after this one. These games are going fast. For me, they're going by fast because they're really enjoyable to watch. 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Okay, now bishop g3. Small improvement. The king now has that flight square available. Are we going to now see this? Is there a way to improve the rook first? Maybe this, or maybe this. And one day black sees the a file opening up. I don't think there's anything wrong with a5. Knight f8. No rush. Is this an idea? Just consolidating a little bit. Huh. The knight will not be jumping into g6. So what is this move about? I don't know. Yeah, why is the knight better? Oh, okay. Going for a knight exchange, huh? Alrighty. That makes sense. Majors can see a bit more, just like the bishop getting out of the rook's way. The knight is now getting out of the way of the two minor or major pieces on the e-file. Ducking the exchange. Bishop revisiting h2. You could go in for this. Might we see this and then trying to play against the structure? No, just centralizing. Oh yeah, white, I could do what you do. I could centralize my rooks as well. Back to white. What's the improvement here? Got a full diagonal of pieces. Knight e3. This pawn was back. This would be something. Trying to converge on f4. What is this? Are they taunting each other? Going for repetition? This is a moment. Are we going to see knight here and the knight go back? Is Leela going to go for a draw? Or is Leela going to say play ball? No! Play ball, Andrew. Here we go. No draw for you. Wow. All right. And what do we do? How do we move forward? There's one little forward move. Bishop d3. This bishop now has a responsibility. This is a game of all very slow moves, it must be said. No flash. Small improvements. We'll probably see some flash in the Blitz games, the bullet games. 3-minute mark versus 8 minutes 44. A lot of bishop moves. Kind of like a passing move. Once more, the king has that h2 square in the event there's a back rank issue. Could step up. Beyond that, I'm not sure what more to add. Well, I'm not sure what else that bishop move would be doing. How to improve for knight. The knight has a responsibility, because this is something serious. If this knight goes away, you don't want to have to do this move. Create some weaknesses. So now queen c7. I'm not sure what the point of that is. I mean, is this now... Is black prepping this advance? Crack open the center? Who knows what's going to happen after that? Everything would get unleashed. All you need is one central pawn to be captured, and it's just opens everything up. So, pretty mysterious last couple of moves by black. Queen c7, queen c6. Tough to say how great of an improvement that is. Okay, I mean, b5 is supported. Are we ever going to see this type of minority attack? Aside from this capture on g4, nothing much is happening with the structure. Okay, this is the offer of the light square bishops. Well, with the light square bishops exchange, this knight no longer has this type of responsibility defending against h7. Can maybe think about repositioning to f6, exerting pressure on g5. Now we go with the minority attack. a5 on board. Black keeping the tension between the bishops, saying you take me and improve my queen. I don't want to take you and improve your knight. 2-minute mark. Thank you, Mercy Chalk, for the subscription. Any subs I will get to at the end of this match. I will be sure to address that, but I want to focus on the game here as much as possible. Under 2 minutes for Penguin. Decision time. Light square bishop exchange or not? I mean, black has a very clear plan. Should it be a queenless position? Eventually, white will have to work with some deficient pawn on the queen side, whereas blacks are very compact. One pawn island of 5. These two at some point can be exchanged for the white pawns, or at least one of them. There is a threat here. I'm pretty sure Leela's going to see it. Knight f6 check. Queen's ready to get picked off. I don't... Okay, you could step up with the queen. This seems sensible. Moving forward, no, changing the structure. Interesting. Giving up the e5 square, but now this is the way forward without question. b4 is hitting next. I don't think this knight move here is doing any good. This is the way forward. Create some target now. Minority attack on board. b4 happening, I imagine. 7-minute mark for Leela. b4 it is. So there's now going to be a target. White is going to have to babysit some pawn on the queen side. Ooh. c4. Nice move. White's going to be able to play c4. c5. Huh. Not so fast. This pawn is under fire. Oh. Oh, that's a nice reply. So, the bishop has to play to e5, because how else do you defend this pawn? If the knight moves, c4 would fall, and if the queen comes over to defend, then c4 falls once more. The only reason you can't take here on c4 is because the queen is unprotected. So now you have to keep the structure, yeah? You have to take with the rook. This could hit with tempo. But isn't white going to be able to get in this advance and have a connected pass pawn? Huh. I feel that this could turn out good for white all of a sudden if this advance is on board. So the rook's going to find, I don't know, he's under a minute. Okay, just dropping back, staying connected. And now what? Oh, okay, ooh. A2 is under fire. Oh, this queen is getting so active now. Oh, it's out of the pin, and then he's gonna go. Leela's going pawn hunting. Yeah, that's the way. Hitting white where they're weak. A2 was weak. Oh, repetition? Queen back to F3. Drop. Queen F3, Queen A4. Queen F3, Queen C6. Queen C6 on board. Queen F3. No, a changing of the structure. Play ball, says Penguin. All right, well, black has to play this move, it seems. Or get the knight here? No, it's much more direct. E5 it is. If ever a capture, then C5 is going to be tender. Tender. I'm having too much fun. E4. How's the structure going to change? Things aren't looking good on the clock. Queen C8. Let's not forget about long term. The queens are still on the board. Who has the safer shelter, especially with this move? The king safety. Queen's still on board. All majors still on board. And a knight that is nearby. This pawn does a good job at the moment of offsetting the knight. Queen on C6. Now the knight could drop into this beautiful square. Maybe white has thoughts of jumping into a beautiful square as well on F5. So maybe a push, maybe knight F4. No, a capture. So now this pawn has to constantly be watched over by white. We now have two passed pawns. It was connected. Not anymore. Each side with a passed pawn, C and D files, one rook off the board. How about a knight reposition here, shooing the queen away and preparing to run? Or you go forward. Probably this. Knight F4 it is. With an eye on checking squares and also remove the blockader to run. Time-wise, 15 seconds. You do have an increment, but at any moment there could be a big slip, and that's what I would expect. Not having much time here. Okay. Any tricky tactics? Knight here and queen here? Possibly. No, there's a knight block defending the rook. Knight e6 it is. This knight is on a wonderful square. And this pawn is ready to roll. Oh, and Penguin just fell on time. A sudden end. He had the increment too. Oh, man. I don't know. Was there even a good solution there? I don't know. We'll have to look back. Maybe. Okay. Off it is to now the Blitz. So, current score. 2-0. Leela winning. We are now playing 4 games at 5 minutes plus a 2-second increment. I want to see a little bit more played out as that structure changed, as they had the passers on board. I believe black was the better side there. Safer king, shelter. This is what I had in mind. Is there going to be a game where I don't talk about the French defense? This little maneuver is what I had in mind with that last game. That delay with the knight, and then Leela ended up juking me, not going to b5 but rather c6. So this is a good strategy, I would think, to play, to go with against a bot, go against Leela. Something positional. Exchange the bad bishop for good bishop. Not recapturing with a pawn. So this is freeing up the f-pawn. We once more see a pawn on that e5 square. Should we be taking notes here from Leela? How many times are we seeing not only AlphaZero in the AlphaZero versus Stockfish games, but also Leela having this pawn on e5. Space. And the other knight drifting over to f3, just like they played in game 1, the Scotch opening. It's exactly what the queen knight ended up doing. A knight on f3. Scary. The bishop comparison, light square bishops. What's b3 about? b3, white doesn't want to see c4. It's avoiding any possibility by black to gain some space and give a new square to the bishop. So just a castles. It's scary for the king. I feel like black could get mated before move 25 in this one. Oh boy. Like castles, bishop here with the threat of queen d3. This knight is a long ways away from defending h7. It's drawing attention to that defensive post by a knight in the previous game. Much different structure here, however. There's a delay with the queen bishop. A lot more things to do, more productive looking moves. Rook to e1. This isn't an open file, but it supports a very strong pawn. h3 wouldn't surprise me. h4, however, does. h4 surprises me. Why am I surprised by h4? Okay. Is there a way? What would keep me from playing h4, typically? If black could somehow make use of the very weakened g4 square, how does black do that? Which piece would do that? A knight. But how does the knight ever get there? So the bishop is backing up saying, I dare you. Go ahead. Castle. a4 on board. Just sit. Develop a bishop? No, not to f4. Bishop to d2. What's the difference? Well, c3 was unprotected. At least it's secure now. Now the a file is open. This rook is not needed here. And it's going to be playing into back over to the a file very soon. All the more appealing. Hits with tempo. Meanwhile, what is the king going to do? Both of these pieces. Scary. Really. Kingside castle, queen d3. How are you stopping this? g6. Thank you for the pawn. And now what? Some pressure on e5, but this is well supported. Rook a1 seems sensible. No. h5. So now, this is that much more serious. Castles, queen d3. There isn't even g6 as a possibility, even though that would give up a pawn. Very cramping. Space. Court grip for black. And we got an e5 and h5 structure. And a reposition by the knight. Looking for this, or is white looking to expand and play this? What's the idea with knight to h2? What is... here's something. Maybe the queen wants to go here and the knight wants to return. A queen on g4. Castles runs into bishop takes h6. This is a clearance for a piece, not to move this pawn. I don't think computer's a big fan of going with any more pawn moves in this position. b4 on board, giving up a pawn. Has a nice grip over the light squares, but Leela says, I don't care. I don't want your pawn. I want to go after the heart of your kingside structure. g7 now under fire. This, however, is not a mouse slip. This was an on purpose. Castles, bishop takes h6. This was a planned move. Bishop b5, focusing on a gap in white's camp. 2-minute mark for Penguin. Knight back to f3. These two pieces, how does this rook ever play? White is up a pawn, safer king. Not looking good for the Penguin. This is a passer, tough to get it going. But long term, how do you solve this situation with the king and the rook. How do you complete development? Meanwhile, there's this bishop is going to be super glued in there on d4. I don't know, bishop here. The queen will find a fine square. Okay, this bishop is doing a pretty good job on this diagonal, isn't it? Well, you can't go here just yet. This is what black wants. King h7, rook f8, king back to g8, castle by hand. 1 minute 34. Let's see, plenty of players making blundering many times already, but Andrew is putting up a good fight. Can't go here. Drop f7. Oh boy, what does Leela have? Giving up a pawn. This position opens up a bit more. What's the plan here? Huh. Well, the pawn is running. And meanwhile, black still doesn't have this rook playing. 2 passed pawns in the position, but this one, how do you stop it? This one stopped multiple ways. It's a connected passed pawn, but it's not close to moving. This pawn is, and is on its way. Also, I mean, a bishop f5 move. This is not a stable square. Piece sacrifice, I would not be surprised to see at some stage. Especially after king here, we would have rook takes bishop. Probably right now, actually. Pawn takes, queen takes. The queen is dominant, defending the pawn and stopping king h7. We do have that on board. Rook takes e4. Masterful queen on e4 right here. And now we could see the long-term significance of this pawn on h5. If you took that more reserved option way back when, h3, at this stage, okay, a lot of things have happened, but, you know, g6 and then king here would be a possibility, not now. Black is playing down a rook. White is up a piece in this position, not down the exchange. Meanwhile, this rook can get super active. Rook c2. Rook here. Got to be a little bit careful. King h2. Down to 18 seconds. I've been pointing this out. Okay, now the rook sneaks in, yeah? Oh, if this queen goes... Yeah, black resigned. It's pressure. There's no way to complete development. The king was stuck. That's 3-0, folks. 3-0. Another 5-2 game on board. 3 more 5-2 games. Wow. That was instructive. Okay. In exchange, Queen's Gambit declined. I like the variety. Getting to see a mix of different openings. Yeah. Okay, so this is a little bit surprising. An early bishop e6. Yeah, I'm finding it... I don't know how to describe it. It's instructive to see how black is placing the pieces here. Not just here, but in the other games, these earlier decisions, piece arrangements. So coordinated, so harmonious. Very human-like. I feel that this is an okay game. This is an okay position for white. Very solid. How does black do something here? A5, okay. For the moment, making b4 harder to get in. White would like to. Forget what game it was. Oh, the second 15+2 game. This is where black ended up rushing up with a couple pawns. That was when the E pawn and the C pawn were absent. Right now it's the C pawn and the E pawn. The other way around. So white is looking for the minority attack in this one. Rook to C8. This isn't preparing to expand here, as that would really weaken b5, and white is already there to take advantage of it. Primarily with a knight. That would be the most invasive piece. So some support here for b4. And now knight to h5. Looking for some imbalance? Looking for g5 and then to take out the knight for bishop? Knight for bishop exchange? Yeah? 4-minute mark. Somebody in the chat is saying that Leela loves aiming her bishop and queen at the king side. Interesting observation. Not the first time we were having this. Okay, so what's the plan with the knight? Is black really going to go forward with that? No. Keep the structure. There we go. Knight for bishop exchange. How will black now play with the bishop pair? See, this is what makes these games interesting. Like, what's the path forward? How to slowly improve here? How to really show this as a positive in this structure, which right now, structurally, there isn't any weakness. There are possibilities. Hang on now. Black is pointing at a couple E3 and G3 being watched over. So chop, chop, chop twice on G3, possibly. This knight is not long off from maybe contributing to putting pressure on the dark squares. The dark squares are really what you have to be careful about playing as white. White is absent the dark square bishop. You touch any of your pawns that are in a dark square. You move any of your pawns that are on a dark square. Your dark squares are compromised. This is almost a given. You duck, you keep pressure, you restrict the queen. Okay, so what exactly was accomplished with that move? F7 is now a bit vulnerable. King would rather be on G8. It's a nice little move to insert, inconvenience the king just a hair, especially if it gets really simplified. Queen's off. You would really like to have the king here, much closer to the center of the board. So here we go. Knight takes F2 it is. Yep. And the dark squares are collapsing. Oh boy. Sacrifices. Now what do, king? You go here and invite another sacrifice, possibly? Or actually, king here, there's bishop f4. Bishop f4, oh, there's rook here to defend, but this king is still, he's in the middle. Is there even a rush? Okay, he's just going, Leela's going for a doubling up on the e-file. Oh, this is ready to, at any moment, be broken down. The king is naked. No home. No safe shelter. 2-minute mark, call it for Penguin. 3:55 for Leela. Game 2 of 4 in the Blitz portion. What to do? This is going to come under fire. Do you defend? Do you try to reposition a knight? I mean, knight here. Black is going to win a third pawn. Right now, the imbalance, 2 pawns for the piece. Black has 2 pawns for the piece. Some defense of e3. A question for the queen. Find a new home. This seems really sensible. Defending h6. Improve the king at the same time. Not h5, as it gives up a nice square to the knight at some point. King g7, this is the king's shelter. It's tucked in very nicely. Weak pawn, isolated, backward. And now we double up, I imagine. With this right around the corner, maybe even this. Queen f4 is a possibility, especially if the knight isn't there. Queen f4 would hit here and here. Well, not now. The rook is seeing f4. This is still possible, but the queen on h3 is helping contribute to the defense of e3. But the bishop, I guess, is going to park on g5. And there he goes. There he will stay, I believe. Right now? Ooh, now that's different. f6. 1 minute 11. What's the point of f6? Guards these squares, but beyond that, I mean, what's the purpose of guarding those squares? I don't know how to describe f6. Gonna slowly try to expand over here? h5? Just dropping back. I don't know, mysterious move. Difficult for me to really know what's going on with that f6 move. Maybe this. I mean, is the pawn going to move again? I don't know. That doesn't really tie in. Okay, g4. Can white hold this? Okay, so now, I mean, one piece that could certainly improve for black is the queen. Oh, you just dropped a pawn. Yeah, that's a third pawn. Oh, this is gone. The knight's hit. It's 3 pawns for the piece. Oh boy. Oh boy. E3, C5, under 30 for the penguin. And how to smash through here. The rook returns. This is beautiful. Knight takes rook, pawn takes with the fork. Yeah. 3 pawns for the knight, and how good are these knights? Not too good. They're second-ranked knights. The king is just trying to find some shelter over here. Give me shelter, says the king. And black says, give me another pawn. I want e3. 4 pawns is better than 3. How do you defend this? Is there another way? Can black put any more pressure on e3? Let's see. 4 pieces. e3's under fire. Penguin's under 10. Bishop's hit. Scoop the pawn up. And where's the mate? It feels like we're just a few moves away from the king running for his life. And it not ending well. Rook e1, king c2, something else. b5. No rush. Look at this tsunami of pawns. 7 pawns. And they're all going to get rolling. b4. Oh, brutal. Pass pawn. Pass. No, he's the only passer, but under 10 seconds, living off of the increment. Rook here would have been a helpmate. Rook check. Final touch. Let's see. Oh, brutal, man. Okay, he resigned. I guess, wasn't there queen f1 in that position? Yeah, it's just not going to go well. That's Leela had 4 pawns for the piece, and Penguin's king was on the ropes. Are we going to see another Scotch? Yes. Leela is a fan of the Scotch opening. Okay. So we saw this in game 1, the 15-minute game. This is now the third 5+2 game. The score 4-0. Leela Chess Zero. Okay. We're revisiting game 1's line, where in this position I believe it was knight d2, followed up with queen e4, bishop d3. How is black going to improve? I think we had queen e6 in game 1. Is black going to try something different here? A faster challenge of the e5 pawn. I don't know what move that was, but it really felt that it came much too late. Okay, still following game one, if I'm recalling correctly. Now a3, so white here deviates. No queen e4, a3, preventing a pin. And is there some other point? Maybe preparing to expand with b4. Okay, so a5. Now, in that first game, I pointed out the minor pieces were really struggling because of a b3 and c4 structure. This is something that can now be broken down. The difference here is that one of the differences, at least, is that the a pawn is not obstructed. So the bishop played here in game one with the pawn still on a7. The a pawn did not contribute. So if white tries something similar, constructing a b3 c4 structure, it can be broken down with a timely a4, and then these pieces would soon become very active. So bishop e2 in this game, not bishop d3. Why exactly? I'm not so sure. What's the difference between the two in this structure? I don't know. Okay, at the moment this pawn is under fire. Bishop to e2. Now it didn't take long for me to now realize what a difference is. Bishop d3, bishop e2. There's now a bishop g4 move, asking the queen a question. Find a new home. Queen e7 it is. And now a follow-up knight here would be dropping this pawn, but can you still do that? Maybe bishop g5. Okay, queen c2. Just saying take that pawn. Yeah, it's too risky to do that. King and queen on the same file. This pawn is still poisoned, I guess, right? Bishop here gets hit with knight f3, bishop f4. Not this, I don't think. There's ways out, possibly taking advantage of the open diagonal towards the white king. So one more blitz game after this, if you're just tuning in, and then a group of 8 bullet games, 1-0 time control. And I don't know, maybe they'll do a little bit more after that, depending on Andrew, I believe, whatever Andrew wants. Maybe they'll try some hyperbullet 30-second games. I don't know how well those would go. Maybe try to win on time. Anyhow, what's happening here? The knight is staying put. His pawn is hit 3 times, only defended once, but there's a pin. So once more looking to restrict this bishop, huh? Is now the time for a4? As otherwise, white may play a4 and remind black that these guys are just out of play. d6. Okay. Bishop b2. Can't take. So I missed something there. Oh, the bishop went to f3. I missed a move there. I blinked. White is down a pawn. But these pieces, the structure on the queenside minor pieces are a problem. And once more, we have a lot of pieces on the board, and who has the safer king? Team White. Safety first. Square for the king. No rush. c5 now. Okay, this is a beautiful square for a knight. Intensifying the pressure on e5. This pawn ever budges, the dark square bishops come off, and there's one less defender for the black king side that is compromised. 4-minute mark for Leela. Double the time. Penguin is now in bullet mode. Are we gonna have, who is that in the chat that said it, like Leela likes pointing the The queen and the bishop at the king. Is this what's being lined up here? Bishop b3, queen b2. Just trying to put one more piece on e5. Now, what's the body count on e5? How many attackers and defenders? 1, 2, 3 defenders. Going for a reposition. The bishop has done its job, apparently, on f3. It wants c4, would seem. Black could take another pawn, but it'd be unprotected. Probably take there, and then take there. This light square bishop, once more, is having a tough day at the office. An unproductive piece, and now a huge gap on e4 for the white pieces. No need to react. White is generating a stronger threat. Bishop c4 offers a queen exchange. This should be declined. Bishop d3, not rook here. The knight wants to go to e4. This is the optimal piece to be on e4. So queen exchange is avoided with a counterpunch. And g6 is going to fall soon. I guess queen f6. You don't want to go to f7 because this will be captured with another punch against the queen. Queen f6, queen g5. One of these two, a dark square. This is scary. So one of these two, f6 it is. And now you don't have to react. Actually, regardless of where the queen went, the knight could jump in here. Okay, a reaction straight away. I believe this is where the knight is going to go, though. Or it could revisit, yeah, knight f3, because this is going to collapse. 1, 2, 3, 4, and soon a fifth will be targeting e5, and this bishop, I can't even call that a spectator. Now, this is just a blind piece. Yeah, it's just not seeing any. Now this rook. The rook is out of the ballgame, and queen d3 wins, no? 2 unprotected pieces. Queen d3 it is. It's resign time, yeah? No? A little bit more play. Knight takes c5, hits the queen, defends the rook. Queen c4 hits the knight. And you could defend the knight, but then there's b4 chasing the knight away from defending the rook, and we're going to have a resign soon. Also, taking a peek at the clock. I might play it out a little bit more. But b4 is going to win something. Or just smashing through on e5, the king. Getting at the king now. What's the count here? Black is up a pawn, but not the most healthy of pawns. The queens are at least off the board now. Okay, the queens are... Oh, man, are you serious? Oh, rook takes rook. Really? Just not taking the queen back? I don't want your queen, Leela says. No, thank you. Rook here and then looking for mate. 6 seconds. Don't lose on time. Play this out. I want to see how it gets punished. And now rook here. Rook e7. Oh, threatening mate. Threatening mate. Threatening the queen. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, that was beautiful. What a stunning move. Just rook takes rook. Okay. This is the last Blitz game. I wish there were more, because these games are a blast to observe. All right. 5-2. This is the fourth and final Blitz game. Bullet after this. How's that going to go? Okay, they are repeating game 2, the 15-2 time control. Andrew making an adjustment on this move 4. Playing c3, preparing to meet queen b6 with queen b3 in this case. Queen c1 was a little bit uncomfortable move. So, okay, a6. Prevents a possible check, but I believe this is more so looking to one day expand. I don't know about c4, but possibly b5. Let's see how black sets up the pieces in this one. So, how does this bishop get playing? Okay, right now we have the... That almost felt like a... close to a pre-move. So we just had a good bishop for bad bishop exchange. The structure is now a little bit split for white. but white does have a nice grip over e5. And how to take back. Taking with the pawn, it becomes isolated. And black would obtain a central majority, 2-0. Yeah, so that's what we have. 2-0 majority in Leela's favor in the center. Queen b6. Some pressure on the knight, pressure on the pawn. Queen b3 seems like what Andrew would play here. Seems like a good move. Offer a queen exchange. This might be his one final chance to maybe score a half point. Queen b3, get the queens off before something bad happens. Like that last game. Oh, just don't take the queen back. Rook takes rook. Man, it seems like it always manages to find a way to embarrass one of your pieces. If it's not the light square bishop, it's the rook that was sectioned off in that game on a6. The center broke open. The king's wrecked shelter was really highlighted. So instructive. Okay, so no knight c6 here. A knight on the c5 square. Bishop d7. The opposite soon. There isn't anything direct. Yeah, castles here. Now maybe this rook to c8. 333 for Penguin. This pawn is unprotected. It's a fine defense with g3. This will be a good flight square. Rook to e8. Not quite prepping e5. There's a big battle going on for the e4 square, I should add. Also, black is connecting on a4. This may be... yeah, at some point, this could be thrown in there to induce some pawn advance. You know, if b3 is played, then c3 becomes that much more of a target, a focal point, once the rook is on the c-file. How many times are we seeing this type of structure on the king side? It's very efficient. Very nice shelter. Rook, the queen rook to c8. Bishop a4? Oh, it is white's move. g3, create a flight square. Queen to b1, just getting off of this file. Knight a4. Let's not forget about knight a4. Knight a4 throws a punch at b2. Knight a4 it is. Ooh. Not the most comfortable square for a knight on b3. Queens, okay, this will be played in a blink, I would think. And also maybe this, the knight wants to reposition. Two things going on, vacate b3, throw a punch. Why is this move not played yet? Some other trick I'm missing? No, g3 it is. 2:38 for Penguin, 4-minute mark for Leela. Reposition the knight or get the b pawn going? Ooh, mysterious. Oh, here's the idea. Knight c5 says, if you ever take my knight, you will not have d4 as a home. I'll be taking with the pawn towards the center, have a nice pawn island of 6, and yeah, your centralized piece has to go elsewhere. Okay, and also, maybe bishop a4, another piece revisits here. Also, hit with a pin. a5. This knight will soon be asked a question. And this pawn may go one step further and put a great dent in the queenside structure. Getting to a3, this pawn has to move. Yikes. And if you try to play a3 to stop this idea, bishop a4 is very uncomfortable. I don't know how you would get out of that pin. a4, b4, none of the above. Knight e4. This rook is a little bit weird, huh? On e5. Only there was a dark square bishop around, he'd be cooked. Under 2 for Penguin. These games are flying by. And they're going to fly by even faster in the next group of 8 games. Bullet next. Look at the rating, by the way. 3,032. Nice, huh? Not too bad. B5, minority. Oh boy. White gains control of e4, but now this king is a little less secure, and the bishop needs to do something else. Queen b6, no, b4 straight away. So what's the tactic here? There's a lot of good moves here. Look at the nice placement of the black pieces. Queen b6. This is now an open diagonal. Have the recapture right away. Oh, there is knight c4 as well. So the knight was under fire. The knight moves. The queen is defending the knight now. Pawn takes pawn. Yeah. Something more direct. I shouldn't be surprised that black is not recapturing a pawn when in the last game it didn't recapture a queen. Are we now going to have a... No time to recapture pawns. Leela just cannot be bothered to recapture. I'm going to just throw stronger punches. The knight was under fire. Secure now. Only at this point do we have a recapture. Look at the great depth this pawn has. Also, there's a passer. Does it get rolling right away? Doesn't seem to be enough support for that. So how to improve further? Induce some weakness? No, you get forked. Ah, I forget what game this was. The queen came out to a4. Was that game 2? I believe it was game 2, yeah. When the one Penguin lost on time. Queen came here hitting white where they're weak. A2's under fire and how to defend. No reaction just yet. Under a minute for Penguin. Rook is hit. Probably just take one step forward. Isn't that an improvement for the rook? Now the knight moves, so this was the idea, clearing the way for the rook to defend a2, but now this is a great gap, and now one pawn restricts two. This is structurally busted for white. Compare the rooks. There's only one open file, and who controls it? The knights. Both of black's knights are in the key 16 squares. This knight strictly defensive. And this is a solid structure, so the major pieces, while centralized for white, aren't really felt in this position. Look at how the black pieces are slowly entering white's camp. Pawn on b4. A rook on c3. Control of an open file, lateral pressure in white's camp. Both directions. 31 seconds for Penguin. 3 minutes for Leela. Okay. Getting rid of white's best piece. Trying to, at least. You could go for this, no? No, he's going to win a piece. Rook c1. Yeah, rook c1 incoming. I'm not right. Oh, you rook c1 right now, even. Queen is overloaded. It's going to win. Going to have resignation. And on to bullet. Yep, he resigned. Queen takes rook. 2 rooks for the queen. Well, not so fast. This rook would be unprotected. A queen move. Rook takes rook. Queen takes rook. Queen takes here. And he's up. Okay, off we are to bullet. These are going to go fast. Just going to be an observer along with you. Very light comments. No increment here. Let's see. 59 seconds. Oh, God, this isn't going to end well. 11 moves, and not a second has come off the clock yet. Yeah, I think Leela is fast enough. There isn't going to be a win on time. Look at this. I'm seeing patterns now. I'm improving by watching bullet chess. 2 pawns restricting this quark grip. Even in an endgame. There's a passer. G7 is hit. F7 is hit. A5 is prevented. Space invader pawns. And now these guys are going to creep up very slow. The bishop is a rock. Oh, F7. Don't go too far, rooks. Ooh, a little repetition. Are we going to have a draw? Ooh, breaking it open over here. It feels like there's some success here on Black's part. The king is a very good blockader. 51 seconds. I think white can't make progress unless this pawn gets rolling. Does Leela want to move the f-pawn? We might have a repetition. This seems like it's tending towards a draw. Are they having a threefold repetition? No. White says play ball. Oh, look at that. Not king here because of f6? No, there wasn't enough support for f6. The king is a fighter. Look at that. G-pawn exchange for the h-pawn, and now at some point, this advance, how does the structure change? Got to get that f-pawn rolling, I believe. Rook's going to move. The f-pawn's rolling. Rook takes rook, there'd be pawn takes, as otherwise this pawn would fall. 15 seconds to 44. 65 moves have been played. I still feel that the f-pawn needs to contribute in order for white to make progress. The base points are all covered. Nothing's happening over here. It's locked down strong for black. This could be hit twice, but it could also be defended twice. 41. Move 80. Only 19 seconds off the clock. H6. Uh-oh. Something bad's going to happen fast. There it is. That's the bad thing. It was too hard to defend. 4.4 seconds. Okay. The score here is 7-0. Game number 2 for the bullet. Let's see how Leela does. I don't believe Leela will be losing on time. I believe this is on its way to being a 14-0 match victory here for Leela. Oh, man. Okay. What's he even say here? Okay, bishop pair f5, stopping f5 by white, securing the light squares. And this knight, look at how quick it's already there. It's just a single step away from being on the absolute best square. White has a connected passer, but black has the ideal defender for this passed pawn. Slowly, this type of advance, b6. Now the rook's going to be off first. So now in time, this advance, don't let this knight ever get to these points. Could be a problem. This is a standstill. No, there's not going to be a draw. Here we go with the c5 move. Creating some structure change, creating a passed pawn one way or the other. There we go, a passer on d5. And now the king is going to look to reposition. No, the knight could even jump in here at some stage, no? Oh, are we having a back and forth? Are we going to have a draw some point? No. How do you make progress, though? This knight is fantastic on d3. b5. Both the knights are fantastic. Oh, how do you make progress here? I think this is a fortress for white. If Penguin can make enough moves, I don't see how you make progress. Knight here, you could exchange knights, put the king here. He has the draw. This is objectively a draw. Could you maybe if you do this, this pawn is going to drop. This might go the 50 move rule. I think he's going to be able to do it. This is going to be a draw. He's going to be able to get the 50 moves in. No pawns can move. If you make a there we go, a draw on board. First half point of the game, he got a draw. There it is. He didn't get blanked. He got a half point in bullet. Not easy. If you didn't already know. Oh, the French again. Advanced French. Oh, boy. Okay, going in for the bad for good bishop exchange. We had this in the first bullet game. Oh, jumping right on in there, huh? With knight to e5, look at this pawn. A monster. Will the pawn be connected? Rook takes rook, and you could say goodbye to the rook in the corner. Knight is under control, but whoa, he's getting a pawn. Black is up a pawn. If you blinked, you missed something. Black is up a pawn. Can he win this? White has a lot of space on the king side. Can't exchange. What? This is a king. No, you just. Oh, if you go here, okay. He's going to win this. Penguin's going to win this. Here first? Nice. No, not that way. They both have connected passers. This pawn... No, I don't think this is the way forward. This is a draw. I think he had a win. He messed up somewhere there, I'm pretty sure. Unless I missed something. I don't know. I think that c5 move was off. I don't think that was necessary. Has to be a little bit careful. Maybe the king sneaks in and these pawns could maybe even be the more dangerous. Yeah. He also has to be a bit careful. Gonna go 50 moves in this one? There's a lot more work to do to get the 50 moves in. King here, and then here? Is it going to try for something like that soon? Move 75. Time is not an issue for Leela. 40-second mark. We soon have a threefold repetition? Can you get the king here? Uh-oh, he's trying for it now. King is slippery. King here, and this push. Oh, he's going to push through. Okay, this isn't going to end well. The queen. No, it's just made on the spot. I was like, where's the check? Where's the king going to get chased to? Nope, that's the game ender. That's mate, folks. Given more time, I think that was an objective win at one point for Penguin, I believe. And in that, towards that shuffling portion, that was a draw. Yeah. Or maybe it was toying with Penguin a little bit. Anyhow, off to the next game. Another bullet game. Huh. Is up a pawn here? No, is up 2 pawns? No, 2 pawns for the piece position. I'm still thinking about the previous game. Penguin has a piece. Leela has 2 pawns. 3 pawns, call it. Oh, what is that about? Oh, attacking with just 3 pieces? Leela's down a rook. 3 pawns for the rook now. Uh-oh. Knight here you could take. Oh, there goes the queen. Now, look at this imbalance. 2 rooks and a knight. A queen and 5 pawns versus a rook and 2 knights. How many times have you seen that imbalance? Queen and 5 pawns versus 2 rooks and a knight. Okay, I think one of these guys are going to promote one day. Let's see the fortress. Is there a fortress? This is not happening. There's not going to be a draw here. Black will make 49 moves and then make a pawn move and reset the 50 move counter. Yeah. It's not going to get that far though. A pawn's going to get picked off. Some piece is going to drop soon. There it is. A check and a resign. The rook is falling next. Another W for Leela. Leela Chess Zero, 9.5 to a half. All right, what opening here? Another French? No. A Scotch on board? Scotch on board. 4 more games. Okay, a different variation of the Scotch now. Yeah. Okay, bishop pair for Penguin. Possibilities for a draw, maybe? Opposite color bishops? How will it handle the opposite color bishops? Rook takes pawn, there was bishop takes pawn. Pressure on the light squares. This pawn is not budging too fast. This would give the bishop a nice square on c4. But now this bishop is going to be challenged. This pawn is going to fall. Ooh, rook takes. There's a fork. And now this is getting broken down. There's a pin. There's a pin. You could get out of it with check. This is a sensitive point. But this is also sensitive. This pawn could be hunted down soon. The bishop is going to camp out on d3. This is a wonderful square. This pawn will be falling very soon. You cannot defend it. Ooh. Where's the king going? Ah, you could go for a rook exchange. Yeah. Can you win this? Yeah, there are fixed points here. The king could find a new square over on the king side. King has to get active. There's nothing going on here. King's going to work its way over towards the queen side. Does it know how to convert this? What about the wrong-colored bishop stuff? White has the wrong colored bishop if it's an H pawn and the bishop remaining. So if it's just the king, black is fine, even if white has a bishop and an H pawn, as long as the king can get to the corner. Where's the progress here? The king needs to come over here, but if he does, the bishop's going to target G3 and then F4. It's getting rolling some. I feel that this is certainly drawable. Okay, now two passers. No, this should be a draw. Yes, it's going to be a draw. You could just go to the corner. You could just go to the corner. Oh, but the time. This wrong colored bishop thing applies. You could just go to the corner. 9 seconds. Can he hold this? This is a draw. Does he have enough time to do it, though? He should probably just move this pawn. Yeah, I don't know. 9.4? Oh, he doesn't need to do it like that either. The king could do this, but this is the draw as well. The king and bishop, stay trained here. Okay, now that pawn is frozen. Can he? He's going to be able to do it. He's going to be able to draw this. He'll be able to get the 50 moves in. This pawn will be pitched, and there'll be another 50. This is going to go to 200 plus moves. Move 130 on board. 33 seconds to 9.4. This hasn't moved. This is what you would expect out of the slippery penguin. Very fast. Eventually this pawn is going to move, or actually maybe it just doesn't even go for this. And we just hit the 50 moves without progress rule. We close to that? Seems like we're very close to hitting the 50 moves without progress. Are we going to have a pawn move or just 50 moves? 50 move it is. Draw agreed. Second draw of the match. 10-1 is the match score. How many more games? 3 more bullet games, and maybe a little bit more after that. I don't know. We'll see. Rating 3101. This is bullet rating now. Okay. This feels like a favorable structure for white. Having a nice grip here, but black has a nice center, and it's in motion right away. Ooh. 2 pawns and a rook versus 2 minors. Okay. This bishop could be challenged 1 point. No? Oh boy. I lost track of the, okay, now it's a rook and 1 pawn versus the 2 minors. Okay. Oh, you have chances here to possibly win this. Bishop has to find a new home. He has coordination. White has coordination here. He could only find a way to blockade these pawns. It's going to be tricky. Yeah, this rook is so fast. This pawn can be picked off if the knight is not around to defend here. Black has a passer as well, and now it's transferring this rook. You're seeing the effectiveness of this rook, the long range ability. He's going to try to bolt back over here and fast. Meanwhile, this pawn is flying. Yeah, he's not going to be there in time, I don't think. Challenging the bishop. This is a hard hold. Yeah, and here comes the other pawn as well. Maybe black falls for a fork? It's not happening. Okay. Under 10 seconds. Okay. Yeah, I don't see this one turning into a draw. It may be an objective draw. Oh, well. So easy to go wrong, and the bishop just fell there. Okay. Only 2 more bullet games remaining. That's what they signed up for. That's what was planned. So what opening? Another Scotch. All right. This is one of the games that, yeah, just 2 games ago they played this same opening, resulting in a draw. So are we going to get another opposite color bishop position? Same variation here. Okay. Will Leela find an improvement? Way to win this. Okay, now this is a wonderful square. Yeah, this bishop controls these pawns. And is there a way to play against this structure? I think white would like to keep both rooks on. Rook g4. How do you get active with this rook, by the way? The bishop killed that rook. Couldn't really get active. So, yeah, both rooks off. Yeah, has some real chances for another draw here. Yeah, this is another draw, objective draw. Yeah, I mean, this structure, you really can't take advantage of it with these remaining pieces. If there was still a knight on board, a queen on board, just drop a knight here, queen here, go after the king. It's just not the case here. And this is a dead draw. Both sides are weak on a particular color complex. White is weak on the dark squares. Black is weak on the light squares. And this is the only point you have to watch over is black. This is a frozen structure. No good pawn breaks. This is looking like another draw. And I believe he has plenty of time to pull that off. Oh, he's trying for something sneaky. Yeah, that's okay, though. Nothing's really changed. These two pawns offset. He moves, he gets captured. These guys are stuck. These guys are stuck by these two. And it's just a back and forth. And I don't know what white's going to try. It's just a matter of can he get the moves in? The 50 move rule. Can that hit? Can he score more than 1 point? 11-1 is the match score so far. And one more game after this. Bullet portion. And that might be it. I don't know if they're going to do any more. Where we at? Move 107. I'm not sure where that last exchange occurred on what move. I'll just keep it. Shouldn't be too much longer. Okay, we have one more exchange. Are we going to have another pawn advance? Maybe. He only has 8.3. Yeah, it's never gonna play this until the king is over here. So he could go into this pre-move mode. As soon as the king gets here, though, that's when he has to be a little bit more careful with the pre-moves because of this advance. So he's locked in at this pre-move. Bishop to these two. Is there gonna be another pawn advance? If there is, I'm gonna have to take a quick glance at the moves. Ooh, why is there a pause? Is Leela worn out? Fatigue setting in? Oh, there it is. Another draw. I guess they hit the 50 move mark. And this is apparently the final game here. Can Penguin score a win? A tall task. Ooh, a capture on c4. Bishop b4 follow-up. And it's just hanging on to the pawn. This is too good for black. I don't know. This is just a position type I feel that the computer is going to be brutal with. Yeah, knight on f5. Hitting the bishop. d4 is falling. And there we go. That fast. Ooh. That was game 14. They're playing more? I guess they're still going to go at it? Or are they calling it quits here? I am now, for the first time in a while, staring at the chat. Okay, no, I'm not. They are playing another game, so... Extra innings. Okay, different opening. I'm not sure how much longer they're going to go, but however long they go, I'm going to stick around. See some more of this. Bullet action. A check. A bishop e4. b7 is under fire. Sacrifices on h6. That's defended. The queen slipping over. Space on e5. Another pawn on e5. Another game with a pawn on e5. A lot of pieces swarming on the king side. Oh boy. h5 we've met with g6. The center. Mate threat on h7. Bishop's going to slip into f6. Oh boy. Knight g5. Knight h7. Careful. Oh, what would be the follow-up there? King here. Oh, okay. King here, bishop takes, knight takes, queen check, king runs. You could take there. Think I had that right? Anyhow, that king was going to get flushed out of his home. Wasn't going to end well. So now Penguin is trying the... Oh, what do we... This is Ultra Bullet. White just resigned. He dropped a pawn. We are now in Ultra Bullet mode. They have skipped Hyper Bullet and said, you know, let's just play 15-second games. And yeah, now this is just going a bit crazy. Many quick resigns there, dropping pawns early. He's going with a hippopotamus setup, trying to keep it locked, but Leela is well aware how to punish this attempt to lock down the position. Oh boy. Yeah, bringing the pain with the pigs here on the second rank. That's a check. Oh, how much more of this can I watch? Ultra Bullet is too fast. Another French. An advanced French. Oh, space on the queen side. And a ripped open center. And a ripped open queen side. I give it 5 moves. 5 moves for... Not even. Move 21. Gonzo. Another resigns. 17.5 to 1.5. There's not going to be another half point going Penguin's way if it's Ultra Bullet. I don't see a point. I don't see a half point being scored. It's just not happening. Oh, this is crazy. Whoa. Wait, Penguin's up a pawn. How'd that happen? You could win this one. You could win this one. You could win this one. Right, did I count right? Oh, he has got to connect. How does this always happen? Oh, this is always... That wasn't intended. 2 seconds. It's a draw, repetition. He had a chance there. Whoa, he had a chance to win that one. Something crazy happened there on the left side. I don't know if it was king side or queen side. The left side. I don't say king side or queen side anymore. It's just the left side or the right side. Anyhow, he was winning that. He was up a pawn if I counted right. How did that happen? Is he up a pawn here? He's up a pawn here too. Can he win a game? Black resigned. He dropped a piece there. He's getting winning positions. A couple games where it's a winning position. I think he's determined to play on until he gets a W. Is it going to happen? Not even a second has come off the clock. Okay, there we go. Some time off. Okay. How do you even stay in the game for this long? Ultra Bullet. Wow. Oh boy. Repetition? No repetition. The knight wants this square. Penguin's out of time. Leela only spent a second. 1 second win. Another space invader pawn. Another pawn on e5. It loves the French. Oh, this one didn't end well last time. Where's the king gonna go? Oh, he's done. No castling. Black resign. That's too painful. Pawn on e5, a knight on e5. Brutal. All right, an exchange. Where are we at? Hurry up. Name the opening fast before it's the next game. Exchange Queen's Gambit declined. Is that what we just saw there? I don't know. I blinked. Even material. Can't move, bishop. The rook was under fire. Even material, not anymore. Yes, even back to even material. He has a chance. He has a chance to hold this one. This should be a draw. This should be a draw. Yeah, it should still be a draw. Careful now. Oh, now it's a win. Now it's a win. Here, and then no. Oh. Penguin's down on time. Was this one really a draw? Yeah, I think that was a draw. Objective draw. Another loss on time. Yeah, Penguin must sense that he has a chance, having acquired 2 winning positions. Brutal. Bishop g6. Oh, I love it. 3 pieces intersecting on that square. Brutal move. Pawn takes, queen takes, and there'd be a check. The king would be running for his life again. Some space for black. Structure is good to combat both knight and bishop. Passer. Okay. Yeah, now this pawn is under fire. Wait a second. Wait a second. He's up a pawn again. He's up a pawn again. But the rooks are still around. He's up a pawn. Oh, he just got mated. Oh. He just got mated there. 32-23 rating. Oh, man. He's determined. He must be determined to get that W. Yeah, this structure, that's not a good structure. E6 is happening. The king's still in the center. Position get ripped right open. Okay, another queen's gambit exchange variation. Am I calling that right? I don't know what's happening so fast. Oh, black doesn't have a queen. What happened to black's queen? Whoa! Penguin's winning! He's definitely winning! Is he going to get the W? 4 seconds! He's going to win this one! He's going to win this one! He's got it! He's got it! Penguin's going to win 2.4. He's got this one. He's going to get the first win. Go, Penguin! Do it! 1.9. No stalemates. He's got it. Step ladder incoming. The first W for the Penguin. And there it is. 25-3. Stop right there. Stop right there. Go out on a winning note. You're only as good as your last game. There it is. Minus 56. Take that, Leela. Is that going to be it? Look at the crowd. Look at the fans. Oh, the chat is going berserk. Oh, man. I think that's going to do it right there. 25-3 final score. No, they're playing a little bit more with a different time control, actually. It's just a hair slower. It's Ultra Bullet with a +1 increment, so time shouldn't be a problem. Okay, you could bank some time now. They have some time to think. A second to think. Oh, man. Oh, this little structure change is fantastic for white. This E6. At any moment, especially with the queens on, this king really get killed. Oh, this pawn is flying. Yeah, this will be a resign right now. It's not gonna end well. Oh, I thought that was the perfect time to call it quits. No. Why? All right, they're trying hyper bullet now. Do you want to win in all the categories? Yeah, that game, I don't know. He was up a queen all of a sudden. I had no idea. I'll have to look back, see how exactly that happened, but he somehow managed to be up a queen. Okay. We saw a draw. I think it was his first draw out of this variation. The knight was a blockader. Both sides had a nice blockader. Okay, not here. We do have an imbalance, though. Oh, and there goes the queen. Pinaroni on the G file. Another hyper bullet, no increment on this one. 27-3, current match score. E4, E5, another scotch. I don't know how much more of this I could do. To be honest, this is too much. Okay, we've already had a couple of games where they entered some opposite color bishop position. C4 is a little bit different. Okay, it's not opposite color bishops in this case. Same colored bishops. This pawn, this bishop is super gluing everything together. A better structure for white. And a problem where... What was the trick there? Wasn't the rook c7? Okay, Penguin resigned. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to have a knight exchange. Seen this idea a couple times already. Even material. And the f4 square is very nice. And another sacrifice. Does not even blink to sacrifice material. How many times have we seen this? Just giving up a minor piece, getting 2 pawns. But there's always a queen still around in those cases. The king's position is vulnerable. Is that going to do it? Is that the final one? 29-3 final? No. Oh, now we're just ridiculous mode. Each side begins with 3, but you gain a second on the clock with each move. Another scotch on board, a little bit different now with f4. Dark square bishop's gone. d6, f6, f6 on board. No time to recapture once more. Oh, game over. Bishop's a goner. Careful. Okay, got out of that check. It's knight, picked up a pawn, and that's game over. Fork-a-roni. Queen and rook. Has he had enough? Please, Penguin. Have you had enough? 30-3? That might be a good place to stop. Maybe he sees that nice 3-1, and he's like, okay, you know, I've had enough. 3-1? No, we got some more action. Back to Ultra Bullet mode. Back to Ultra Bullet. Okay. Brutal. Yeah, this isn't a position type where you can make those 50 moves and somehow hope for a draw. Ooh, hang on. This is a compromised. Oh, he's got a draw. He's got a draw. Just as I said, this isn't one of those positions. Penguin made me eat my words. Yes, it is. It is a position where you can make a draw. I destroyed the king position and gave a perpetual check. Oh, how many times have we seen this? This doesn't end well. These pawns. Brutal. Yeah, we've seen this before in a game ending with knight to e5. Sack. It's breaking everything down. That's resigned. That's mate next. Rook has to block. Game over. All right, this is game number, where are we at? Game number 35. Whew. He's got one win in there from an Ultra Bullet game. Impressive. Yeah, White resign that one. Oh boy. Yeah. Queen's off. Yeah, we've seen this. Oh, actually, this was where there was a draw. Yeah, the 2 pawns versus the court grip, not quite in that position. Black didn't get in h6 in this case. This pawn is passed. Black resigned that one. Yeah, it's not a position type. I don't think that one was a position type where you could really try and draw or win that. Space for black. Bishop hair. Spot. Oh. Whoops. There goes the queen. How much more of this? 34.5 to 3.5. Yeah, Leela is going to play this all day, apparently. Pawn on e5. Space. Okay, this is stopped now. This knight is defending these squares. What's going to happen over here? It could still change. Oh, wait a second. He's up a pawn. Oh, this guy's passed, though. Oh, he's running. The bishops have to be exchanged, and this knight is just a little bit of ways. from stopping promotion. Just a hair. Yeah, look at that. How quickly that pass pawn was created on the H file. Yeah, that if you go back over that game slowly, it's instructive to see those little pawn advances that created that passer on the king side. Happens fast. Happened fast, of course. What's up, King on Pre in the chat? It's difficult to take a look at the chat during this. My voice is very worn. What do you do here? Queen h4 at some point? Oh, what are they playing now? Oh, this is bullet one. Oh, okay, I was wondering. Slow down a little bit. 1+1. So bullet chess with a 1 second increment. So they're thinking now. They have time to think. Yeah. So the slower games, it was only in the bullet portion where Penguin scored a half point. Okay. What to note here? This knight is a very good defender. Shared this in a previous game. If ever a battery, that knight's an excellent defender. Queens are off. It feels like white is better here. The bishop versus knight. Superior minor piece. White is a tiny bit better here. No, what am I talking about? White is down a pawn. I have to count better. White is not a tiny bit better. White is down a pawn. Black is better. Okay. One rook exchange soon. Uncomfortable pin, no? For white? This rook's going to get active. It's shot down. Meanwhile, black is grabbing a little bit more space. This pawn is watched over. Okay, gone as far as you're going to go. Now transfer, looking at the c2 square. Ah, just dropped a piece. Rook takes rook, knight takes knight next. Black's up a piece. Penguin resigned. But he's back in the ring, back on ultra bullet mode. Wow. Did they just get another game in there? Yeah, they did. I looked at the chat for a second. Another scotch on board. Okay. Queen's off. These pieces are dead. Yeah, these pieces are dead. I'll have resign. There we go. Resign. Down a pawn. 2 dead pieces on the queen side. He knows what's happening there. Another ultra bullet. Wow. 38.5 to a half. 1 win in there in the ultra bullet. Ooh, he's up a queen. Again. Oh, but it's different here. It's not a... Oh, and there goes the queen right back. Also, the clock times 1.2 seconds. Leela had 14 still. Look at the rating. Ultra bullet rating 32-31. Oh, man. This is fun. This is exhausting. What? Penguin's up a piece. 2 pawns. Repetition? Repetition. You gotta draw. Another one? 40-4? Is this where he stops? He might have had enough. Is that it? 40 to 40? 40 to 4? This might be the spot to stop. I said that at 30 to 3. What about 40 to 4? 44 games? That seems like a good number to stop, right? I'm looking at the chat now. How are things looking? Has he had enough? Is he going to give my voice a break here? This is it? He's done? Yeah, that's it? Yeah, he's saying he's done. I'll take your word for it. Yeah, multiple people, multiple sources in the Twitch chat. How reliable? Reliable enough. Yeah. Slim MG. I trust Slim MG. Very loyal viewer. Slim MG, I trust you. That's going to do it for the Leela Chess Zero versus Penguin match, which went well beyond the intended 14-game encounter. In the end, 44 total games, most Ultra Bullet and Bullet, 40 to 4, the final count. This was fun to watch, particularly instructive the 15+2 games and the Blitz games. The Bullet, some of the Bullet games instructive, but, very, very, very fast. And the Ultra Bullet is just crazy to keep up with. But very good match for Andrew Tang versus this AI Leela Chess Zero.